Things in the Persian Gulf are heating up in a big way, and it's not the usual headline of the week drama. This feels heavier. Pentagon planners are reportedly sketching out options in case diplomacy with Iran completely falls apart. And we're not talking about some quick, overnight send a message and bounce type move. The chatter is about something longer, more sustained, the kind of operation that would hit deeper infrastructure, command networks, and military assets if it ever got the green light. Nobody's saying it's happening tomorrow, but the fact that it's even being gamed out tells you the temperature in the room is way up. When leaders start talking tougher, the tone can shift quickly. Former president has publicly said that decades of talks with Tehran haven't produced the kind of results many in Washington hoped for. His view is that if long-running diplomatic efforts haven't led to significant change, it may be time to reassess the overall strategy. In a region where every public statement is closely analyzed, that kind of messaging carries weight. Regardless of political perspective, the emphasis appears to be moving away from extended dialogue and toward re-evaluating how best to address ongoing concerns. Then you've got Reza Pahlavi, the exiled crown prince, who's been out there saying the Iranian people deserve a real shot at shaping their own future. He argues the current system isn't wired to reform itself. According to him, the ideological DNA has been locked in from day one, and it's been at odds with Western democracies and regional rivals ever since. Some folks in the Iranian diaspora vibe with that message hard. Others warn that when outside powers start talking regime change out loud, it can backfire and rally nationalist feelings inside the country. It's complicated, no cap. Now let's talk hardware, because that's where things start looking serious. The U.S. has major naval muscle in the region, including the USS Gerald R and the USS Abraham Lincoln. When you park not one but two carrier strike groups nearby, that's not subtle. That's a "we're here and we're not playing" kind of signal. Each carrier rolls deep with destroyers, cruisers, subs, and a whole air wing. It's layered defense and offense stacked on top of each other. Officially, it's deterrence. Unofficially, it's also a reminder that the U.S. can flip the switch fast if it has to. Iran, on the other hand, knows it's not winning a straight-up heavyweight slugfest, so it's built its strategy around asymmetrical moves. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, is central to that playbook. Instead of matching carrier for carrier, they've stacked up ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and a whole swarm of drones. One of the most talked about systems is the Shape 136, a loitering munition that's relatively cheap but can cause real headaches. The thinking is simple. If you can't outgun them, overwhelm them. Throw enough stuff in the air and see what gets through. Geography makes everything 10 times spicier. The Strait of Hormuz is basically the world's gas station checkout lane. A massive chunk of global oil flows through that narrow stretch of water every single day. If that lane gets jammed up, even for a hot minute, oil markets freak out. Prices can shoot up just on rumors alone. So when tensions spike, traders start sweating before a single shot is fired. It's not just a regional issue. It's global pocketbook territory. If things ever went kinetic, analysts say it would probably roll out in phases. First up would likely be suppressing air defenses and knocking out command and control nodes. Advanced jets and electronic warfare aircraft would try to blind radar, jam communications, and open up breathing room. Airborne early warning planes would act like flying quarterbacks, calling plays and keeping everyone synced. Modern warfare isn't just about who has the most firepower, it's about who controls the information flow. Whoever owns the sky's data stream has a serious edge. Unmanned systems would be all over the mix. Drones doing surveillance, drones carrying precision weapons, drones acting as decoys. It's a high-tech chess match at 30,000 feet. The goal would be to limit risk to pilots while still hitting targets accurately. That's the new school doctrine. Let the robots take the first punch when possible. But even with all that tech, nothing is foolproof. Missile defense systems can intercept a lot, but not everything. In a real exchange, some projectiles might slip through. That's just the brutal math of modern conflict. Iran's potential counterplay isn't limited to drones. Ballistic missile salvos aimed at regional bases have happened before as a form of calibrated response. There are also fast attack boats that could swarm larger vessels, trying to create chaos in tight waterways. On top of that, there's cyber activity and proxy forces across the region. So it's not just a head-to-head showdown. It's more like a web of pressure points. Any sustained confrontation would have ripple effects in multiple directions. Economically, the first reaction would probably be markets going a little wild. Oil could spike fast. Shipping insurance rates would jump. Companies would start rerouting supply chains. But some analysts think that if sea lanes stay mostly open and the situation looks contained, markets could chill out after the initial shock. Others warn that if things drag on, you're looking at longer-term inflation pressure and global slowdown vibes. Either way, Wall Street and energy traders would be glued to every update. Diplomacy is still technically on the table, but the lane is narrow. Years of negotiations over nuclear issues have built up a serious trust deficit. Tehran talks sovereignty and resistance. Washington talks non-proliferation and regional stability. Both sides feel like they've been burned before. Bridging that gap takes more than a handshake. It takes political courage that can survive domestic backlash. And right now, the political climate on both sides is pretty spicy. Inside Iran, public sentiment is its own wildcard. There have been protests over economic struggles and political restrictions. Some citizens clearly want change. But history shows that when outside powers start flexing too hard, it can trigger a rally around the flag effect. People who dislike their government might still push back against foreign pressure. That's why predicting internal political shifts during external crises is tricky business. Deterrence is the name of the game right now. The carriers, the missile defenses, the public statements, they're all part of that chessboard. The idea is to make the cost of escalation so high that nobody wants to roll the dice. But deterrence is a balancing act. Show too little strength, and you look soft. Show too much, and the other side might feel cornered. And when leaders feel cornered, they don't always make calm decisions. Regional players are watching closely. Gulf states worry about being caught in the crossfire. Israel has its own security calculus. European nations care deeply about energy, stability, and nuclear safeguards. If anything serious kicks off, it won't stay neatly contained. Alliances would get tested. Supply chains would shift. Diplomatic channels would light up around the clock. So where does this all go? There are a few lanes. One is continued posturing, big talk, big deployments, but no direct clash. Another is a limited exchange that both sides quickly move to cap. The most dramatic lane is a sustained operation with broader regional fallout. That's the one everyone says they don't want, but it's the one planners have to think through anyway. At the end of the day, the Persian Gulf is where global energy, regional rivalries, and major power politics all collide. The presence of the USS Gerald R and the USS Abraham Lincoln isn't random. Iran's missile and drone stockpiles aren't random either. Every move is a message. Every statement is part of the psychological chess match. Right now, it's all about whether cooler heads can keep things in the realm of deterrence instead of letting it spiral. The stakes are way bigger than just one country or one administration. Energy markets, regional stability, and global security architecture are all tied into this. Not the next few weeks could either be a case study in crisis management or a reminder of how fast things can go from tense to turbulent. Either way, the world is watching, and nobody's pretending this is small potatoes.